Hi lovelies, you're welcome to Stayaka. In this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to cut this gathered gown below the waistline with one side of shoulder hand. So my pattern paper is on fold. I've gone ahead to mark my body point. Okay. Now I roll a straight line across which I label my shoulder line. From my shoulder line, I mark down to the point I labeled my full length line. So this is the long gown, but I'm going to do it this way because I'm going to be doing slash and spread method and I need that part. Okay. Now from the shoulder line, I came down to my bust line. From my shoulder line, I came down to my waistline of 18 inches. Then from my waistline, I came down to 8 inches to get my hip point. So the remaining part I'm going to use for slash and spread method. Okay. Now I'm going to take my shoulder measurement divided by 2 on my shoulder line, which gives me 8 inches. Then I will make use of 3 inches for the neck wideness. Now from that my 8 inches point on the shoulder line, I'll come down by 1 inch. Then I will connect it this way to the neck wideness on the shoulder line. So this is my shoulder slope. The next thing I will do is to take my armhole circumference from this point divided by 2. I'll mark the point here. Then I'll go ahead to connect it all the way to the shoulder slope point. After doing that, I'll also roll a straight line across like so. Now the next thing I will do is to divide my armhole circumference by 2. I'll get the midpoint, and then from that midpoint I'm going to come in by half of an inch, and then I will take my bust circumference divided by 4 here on this line. Then I will go ahead to connect the front armhole. I'll also outline the shoulder line. Now this line here is my chest line. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do, I already took my bust measurement divided by 4 my chest line. I'll take my waist circumference divided by 4. I'll mark it there. I'll take my hip circumference divided by 4. I will mark it there. So for this particular dress, I'm not making use of that. Okay, I'll also take my hip measurement divided by 4 on my full length line, and then I'll go ahead to connect the points like so. After doing that, I'm going to come down from my waistline at the side by 3 inches, and then I'll go ahead to connect it this way to the hip point on the center front part. Okay, now after doing that, I'll come down by 3 inches for the neck depth, and then I'll go ahead to connect it like so. The next thing I will do now is to use my tracing wheel to trace this to the other side of the pattern paper, minus this curve line connecting to the hip line from the side that is below the waistline. Okay, so after I'm done tracing this with my tracing wheel, I'm going to indicate the particular hand that is not going to be off shoulder, which is the right hand. Okay, now I'll go ahead to use my marker and outline all the lines I use my tracing wheel to mark out. Okay, so after I'm done outlining the parts that I traced out with my tracing wheel, I went ahead to redraw this curve that I have here. Okay, so this is what I'm okay with. Okay, so now the left side of this dress is where this off shoulder hand is going to be. Okay, so from my chest line here, I will come up by 2.5 inches. You can come up by 3 inches. Okay, but I'm coming up by 2.5 inches for mine, and then I will go ahead to connect it this way to the other side of the neckline. Okay, so now I'll use my marker to outline it after getting the shape that I want with my pencil. Now this part is the left side of this dress. Okay, that is your left hand side. Now the next thing I'll do is to go ahead and cut this out. So after I'm done cutting it, this is the part I'm going to be doing the slash and spread method to get the gathers of this gown. Now you can use this to determine the length of your dress, since this is a long gown. Okay, I will also go ahead to label this. You can decide to label yours into 6 places, but I labeled mine to 9 places. Okay, So this is all for the front part of this dress. I'm going to use this to cut out the back part, okay? So to cut out the back pattern, I went ahead to fold my pattern paper by 2. I mark out 1 inch for the zipper allowance, which you can make use of 1.5 inches. Then I take the same measurement I took for the front pattern, okay? Now I also made use of the same half length for the front for the back, and this is because this dress does not have any side. That's okay. Now there's a way I'm going to be eliminating the zipper bulge for this dress. So the next thing I will do is to place the front pattern on the back pattern from the zipper allowance line like so. I'll make sure that the front waistline and the back waistline, they are aligning. Then I'll go ahead to trace out the front shape to the back pattern like so. Now I'm going to be tracing the armhole part, but I'm going to be coming out from that part a little bit, okay? So this is what I'm trying to explain here. I'll come out by like half of an inch, and this is because that is the back armhole, okay? Now I'll go ahead to use my tracing wheel to trace out all the lines to the other side of the pattern paper. So after doing that, I will just go ahead to mark out my chest line and I will label it. So now I'll go ahead to open this up, but I'm going to be holding the zipper allowance together like so. So just like I'm holding it, I'm minusing it from the actual measurement of the dress, okay? Now I'll go ahead to outline the points, the part that I trace out with my tracing wheel. So after I'm done outlining the line like so, I'm going to cancel this particular line here, which is the neckline. Then I'll place the front pattern facing each other like so. So the right side facing the right side, that is the part that I have my marker on. Now I'll go ahead to trace out the neckline like so. Now doing it this way will help when cutting on your fabric, okay? Now I'll just go ahead and connect the trace out the neckline to the back pattern like so. Then I'll also come here and trace out this other curve line that came up towards the waist line here at the side, okay? So I'm just going to flip this my zipper allowance for the back like so, so that I'll be able to trace this properly. I'll also trace out the neckline again like so. Now after doing that, this is all for the back pattern. I'll go ahead to cut this out. So for this dress, I just noticed that the part that went up for the gathers part should be going towards the off shoulder side, so please take note of it so you will not make the same mistake, okay? So I'll just go ahead to open this zipper allowance line here, and then I'll go ahead to indicate this as my zipper allowance part, okay? Now after doing that, I'll go ahead to splash and spread it. So the same thing I did for the front is what I'm doing for the back, okay? So I'm splashing and spreading it by 5 layers, okay? So at this point, if you find this tutorial very helpful, please don't forget to subscribe, comment, share and like. So now the next part I'll be working on is the zipper part of the top. So now on the zipper allowance line here at the waistline, I will go in by half of an inch. I'll mark the point there and then I will go ahead to connect it this way. Now this is to avoid any zipper bulge, okay? Now after doing it this way, I'm going to be cutting out this side here, okay? And then I'll go ahead to open up the zipper allowance side. So I'm just going to separate the back piece like so, and then I'll be notching the zipper allowance part, okay? So I'll notch up and down. Then the next thing I'll be doing is to avoid the zipper bulge. Okay, so remember that this dress does not have any dart, so I'm just going to come up from the waistline at the zipper allowance side here by 1 inch. I'll repeat the same thing on the other back piece, and then I'll go ahead to slant this all the way to the side on the waistline. Okay, now this is to avoid any zipper bulge because we didn't take our actual back half length. Okay, now I'll go ahead to close this up like so with my tape. I'll repeat the same process for the other back piece. Okay, so take note that this is totally optional. If you don't want to do it this way, you can go ahead and just cut it on your fabric like so. Okay, now this is all for the back part of this dress. So this is what I'm going to use for the back gathers. Okay, and this is it for the front gathers. So I'm going to slash and spread it, but when I'm slashing and spreading it, I'm going to join it together. It's not going to have slit at both sides for the gathers. Okay, now this is it for the front and the back of the top. Okay, and if you notice, the back is shorter than the front in length. Okay, and this is because of the 1 inch that we took out from the waistline to avoid zipper bulge. Okay, now this is totally fine. Okay, now I'll go ahead to slash and spread the front piece. Okay, so when I slash and spread the front piece, I'll also do the same thing for the back piece as well. So I'm going to bring my plain pattern paper to actually spread the front gathers first. So watch what I'm doing here. Okay, now I'll go ahead and leave spacing of 5 inches, but if that 5 inches might be too much, so just leave spacing of 3 inches. It depends on how full you want the gathers of this dress to be, so make use of spacing of 4 inches or 3 inches. That is if your slash and spread is much, like up to 9 or up to 8 pieces. Okay, so I'm going to do it like so till I get to the other end of the front slash and spread pattern. Okay, now when I get there, I'll go ahead to continue with the back slash and spread pattern. So meaning the upper part of the slash and spread of the back will be facing the upper parts for the slash and spread of the front piece. Okay, so please watch closely what I'm trying to explain here. Now I'm going to go ahead. This is the back slash and spread pattern. I'm going to slash this up, and then I'm going to continue spreading it just like I did for the front slash and spread. Okay, so just make sure that the upper side of the slash and spread for both the front and the back side, they are aligning. Okay, so now I'll continue with my 5 inch spacing. Okay, to start placing the back slash and spread method. So this is it for the front, while this side is for the back slash and spread method. Okay, now I'll go ahead to place this like so. Then I will be doing the same thing while placing the remaining back slash and spread pattern. So the back that slash and spread pattern that I'm actually doing now is one side of, this dress has zip at the back, so it is one side of the back slash and spread that I'm doing here. Okay, so after doing this side of the back slash and spread, I'm going to start from the other side of this my gathers to place the other side of the back slash and spread pattern. Okay, now I'm just going to cut this out with half of an inch. Okay, so I don't have enough pattern paper with me, so I just had to like join a lot of pattern papers to actually create this. Okay, so take note that this particular gathers does not have a joining at both sides. Okay, that's why I'm doing it like so. Now on the other side of the gathers, that is what I'm trying to place here. So I'm going to repeat the same thing I did for the other back piece for the other side. Okay, so I don't have much pattern paper with me to actually spread this just like I did for the other back pattern, but just take note that this is the other side of the back slash and spread pattern. Okay, so after doing this, you're going to use it to cut out the gathers of this dress, either long or short. Okay, now also go ahead to notch out the part that is the part that is the gather part that is meant for the back side, then the one that is meant for the front side. So when you gather it up to that part, you know that this particular side is for the front, while this side is for the back. Okay, it will be much more easier for you that way. Okay, now this is it for the gathers of this dress. Okay, so this is me notching from the differentiating the back gathers from the front gathers. Okay, so now for the off shoulder strap, I went ahead to cut out two pieces for the front and then for the back. Then I made use of 2.5 inches for the boldness of the strap, then 18 inches or 20 inches for the length of the strap. Okay, now I also did the same thing for the other strap. So I'll go ahead to bring the front pattern paper. Okay, this is how I'm going to place it, right side facing the right side, and this is it for the strap of this dress. I'll repeat the same thing for the back as well. Now this is it for this tutorial. I'll see you in my next tutorial, but for now, bye and thanks for watching.